Hello everyone. So I welcome you on this video. So today we are going to talk about the vision of social change in India. So vision of social change in India is one of the very important topic in the part 2 of the sociology optional. I hope you know about this since I'm covering the sociology part 2 topics. So since beginning on this video I will just be giving you an introduction about the vision of the social change, okay, in India. You see what social change in India. First, let's understand the word social change. Okay, social change. What does it mean? It means that it just means that it is a vehicle to bring changes, or rather, it is a vehicle to bring difference into the lives of the depressed women and other weaker section. And this is a fundamental definition of the social change. Moving ahead, see, attention we must have to attention vision of the social change. See, attention was given making everybody politically equal. So vision of the social change in India was that post independence, I'm talking about the post independence, the more attention was paid making everyone politically equal, improve the economic and the social conditions in the village, integration of India emotionally and politically, right? Warding of the evils like communalism, caste, and regionalism, right? Such visions is also reflected in this structure and the spirit of our constitution, which is preamble, which is aims to provide the, in the preamble it aims to objective, or the purpose is to achieve the social changes. Also in the DPSP, it is enshrined in our DPSP as well. Now moving ahead, see, before moving ahead we must also understand there is a concept called great tradition, little tradition. Here the parochializations and universalization, as you can see here. See, don't get also stressed about these terms. These are very simple terms, and these are the terms used by the various sociologists, researchers, in order to define the in order to study the structure of the social change culturally and traditionally in India. Okay, so let's begin. See, classification of society in terms of the cultural tradition is, there are two. One is a great tradition and is a little tradition. Great tradition and little tradition, society is classified in terms of social tradition, cultural tradition, that is great tradition and little tradition. Okay, see, great tradition in general and Indian context, I'm going to talk about this. Okay, one is I'm so sorry, let me do this way. All right, no need. Fine. See, great tradition in general and in Indian context, we're going to see what is great tradition and little tradition in both the context. In general, see, in general, the great tradition is a cultural tradition of the elite people, okay, in the society. That is a great tradition. And little tradition, it is a cultural tradition of the unlettered peasants, which is, you can also say, it's a localized, it is a localized context. And great tradition is a broader context, uh, in which the society is divided into the two groups. Okay, well, in Indian context, the great tradition means that it's a Sanskrit tradition, and such traditions are transmitted by the written records. It's a Sanskrit tradition, okay, and it is such traditions are transmitted by the written records through the like ritual, through the priest, ritualistic leaders, etc. Well, little tradition in the Indian context means life and the cultural traditions of the village communities. Those are usually unrecorded and orally transmitted, right? You can see this. So in Indian, see, this same framework has been used in Indian context also, this cultural tradition in the great and little tradition, in a study of it. Okay, and it explains, the cultural tradition explains change through the concept of tradition and its social organization. Concept of tradition and social organization explains the changes in the society. So in Indian context, if you see, there is a continuity between the great tradition and there is a continuity between the great tradition and the little tradition. is due to the India's indigenous culture, existence of the India's indigenous culture since ancient time. Okay, and both are great tradition and little tradition. Both interact with each other, and not just only they interact, but they are also interdependent to each other. Okay, we will see this more detail in this concept of procalization and the universalization. See, procalization says that it refers to some element of the great tradition is passed downward and becomes the part of the little tradition, which means, see, for example, tribal people are considered to be categorized under the little tradition category. Okay, so tribal group adopts the Sanskrit tradition, that Sanskrit tradition is the element of the great tradition. Okay, so this is an example. See, tribal people used to adopt the Sanskrit tradition, and they are sometimes referred to as a Hindus. Okay, Hinduized people group. So it is example of the uh, paracalization. Paracalization refers simply that the some element of the great tradition downward is passed downward to the little tradition, and that becomes a part of the little tradition. Okay, universalization, if you see, on the other hand, it refers to some element of the little tradition are sent upward and becomes the part of the great tradition. Example, worshipping of the Lord Ayappa was confined to few places around the Sabrimala temple in Kerala, but over the decades, the deity emerged as a pan-India god. So this is the introduction of the vision of the social change in India, and you can see great tradition and little tradition both runs hand in hand. Only the limitation about the great tradition and little tradition is that, according to the Yogendra Singh, he says that it explains only the cultural change, but not the structural change. And he also says that the term little is attached to the term little is attached, he considers that little to the folk tradition. Term little is attached to the folk or the unlettered peasants, which gives a notion of inferiority, biased notion of inferiority. So it is being criticized on those grounds. Okay, so this is the introduction about the vision of social change in India. Well, now we'll further discuss this topic into the will further, but this topic is further divided into the three parts. Okay, number one is the idea of the development planning and mixed economy. First we'll understand through this, and second is the constitution, law, and the social change. That is the second topic, and third is the education and the social change, and then we will finally will see the conclusion of this social change in the India. Okay, so this is the introduction.